I'm here today with my lovely colleagues, and we are going to talk about the month of Ramadan. And we're here with our colleague Alveena, and she's an expert in this topic, and she'll tell us a little bit more about it.
Hi, Alison. Hello, Francesca.
Hi,
Hello.
Alveena. You
Hi,
must be getting quite excited by now, right?
really this is
Yeah.
such an exciting time in our family, not just in our family, like in the community, in
Yes.
school, in our neighborhood. Like everybody gets excited about Ramadan. Like it doesn't matter what kind of a Muslim you are, like where you might be in terms of your piety or how practicing you might be. Everybody loves Ramadan.
What is Ramadan for those who don't know, and what makes it so special?
So Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, and it begins and ends with the sighting of the moon. So one of the activities that children really like doing is they look out for the moon, and the moon committees meet to see, have you sighted the moon? Is it Ramadan tomorrow? And we
Yes.
do that at the beginning and at the end as well when we're looking for Eid. So yeah, it's a month that's for 29 to 30 days where Muslims around the world refrain from eating and drinking from just before dawn till sunrise.
I mean, when I was living in the UAE, it was actually a surprise to me that it includes water as well, any drink.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think that's the question we get asked the most, like, not even water. And it's like, it's okay. It's actually okay. To practice self-control, it's to have empathy for those around us who may not have the blessings that we have. It increases the blessing for what you have. So like when we open our fast, nothing tastes as good as that glass of water and that sweet date. Something that I will completely not think about ordinarily all throughout the year. But when you break your fast, you realize, you thank God that we have these blessings that we take for granted. And it's also a month that if you're not eating and drinking, you have more like spiritual energy to focus on other tasks, be it the charity, the giving, the empathy. So it's to encourage all of these virtues in us. So it's a really fun time of the year. So Muslims all around the world, they have their unique traditions like unique Ramadan traditions, like in Cairo and Lebanon, I believe, and Istanbul. They have Ramadan drummers, and their job is just to go around the neighborhood at suhoor time and beat their drums and wake up the neighborhood to wake up, have your suhoor meal. It's time to start your fast. So that's really nice.
So what's sahur mean? What is that all about?
Sahur is the meal that you have just before dawn. So you need to have that meal before you start your fast. So it can vary depending on what time sunrise is, depending on where you live. So it could be anything from 3:30 till 5:30. Again, it depends where you are. So the interesting thing about sahur time is that even if you're not fasting, like you'll have your children will wake up because there's something special about getting up in the middle of the night and having that meal. So I have three little kids aged 9, 7, and 3, and the 7-year-old doesn't pass, the 3-year-old's little. They'll all be up.
Yeah, that's
see
it.
what the fuss is about and
Because it's a
enjoying
family
that
event.
meal.
And I think one of the things that's unique about Ramadan is it changes throughout the year. It's not at a set time, right?
Yeah. So because it starts and ends on the sighting of the moon, so it changes every year. So when I was growing up, Ramadan was actually in winter, and that was amazing because winter in London is 3:30,
shorter daylight.
Yeah, it was, and at the same time, I actually moved to the UAE when Ramadan moved to the summer in the UK, so where sunset was like 9:30. So I missed that. But yeah, it depends where you are.
When you go all day, so you experience a little bit of struggle, right? So that can be quite hard to carry on with your day for the kids to, if they're fasting and they're going to school and experiencing all of the things that happen at school, the PE lessons, the tests and everything. And then it's a bit of a struggle, that's the meaning, is for you to experience that struggle so you appreciate your blessings. But then what happens when it's time for you to then eat your evening meal then?
So we'll eat our evening meal as a family, we'll get together. So there'll be like food, which some people specifically make in Ramadan. So there's one dessert, it's called kataif. You might have had it, Francesca, where they're moon-shaped desserts and they're stuffed with nuts.
And it
And
only
they
comes out at that time.
it only
in
comes
Ramadan.
out at that time. Yeah. So there'll be those kind of goodies on the table. The kids will be all excited
Special
because
food.
mommy doesn't normally make this fun kind of food at this time. They get to stay up late. They won't have to like be asleep at their bedtime and everything. So yeah, we open our fast at sunset, and then about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, the men will leave for the Tarawih prayers,
Okay.
which again are special Ramadan prayers that you only pray in Ramadan, and that's usually at the mosque. And again, sometimes the kids will join their parents as well to pray these prayers.
So
Lovely.
it is it's important for teachers to be mindful that even if children are quite young and they're not at the age of fasting,
Yeah.
that they are part of the whole family experience.
Yeah.
They'll be
Yeah.
tired during the day. That's
Yeah.
why in the Middle East and in certain countries they shorten the school day or the working hours
Yeah.
for those.
So they will
Make-
start later, and they will here in the UAE the school day starts later and it ends earlier. And it's a Muslim country, so you can make these kind of provisions here. But in the West, even if we can't make those changes to the school day, I think teachers should be mindful. They should be mindful of the fact that children will come to school and they'll be tired,
Yes.
and they might not. I mean, perhaps if we can make provisions, it won't be the month to do assessment or to start new learning, because the child in Ramadan is not the same as the child before or after Ramadan. They won't be able to, give their full, work to their full ability.
Yeah.
So being mindful is super important.
Yeah, and I know when I was working there that the students, we cancelled PE and they didn't do swimming because we didn't want to dehydrate the children. We didn't want to have them dehydrated.
The PE is taxing, is tiring, and they do get dehydrated. Even if you're not living in a Muslim country where it's warm, it's still, you need your water. So if possible, allow children to skip PE, skip swimming, allow them to stay in the classroom or the library during break time or lunch time, because that makes it a little bit easier for them.
Would everyone be fasting then? So if you come from a Muslim family, you automatically would be fasting during that time?
Well, children are exempt from fasting, obviously, and the young children shouldn't really
Young
fast.
children.
The elderly are exempt as well. Those pregnant women are exempt. Those who are on their periods shouldn't fast. And if there's any other kind of medical condition, like, I don't know, insulin dependent diabetes or things like that, those people won't be fasting either.
Yeah. So not everybody necessarily would practice, right?
No. That's the important point, because it's a very individual thing. I mean, whether you pray, whether you fast, whether you cover, it's not universal. It's very much depending on your family, your level of faith, or just it's a choice at the end of the day. So we can't assume that everybody will be fasting, or assume that all kids won't be fasting, or all people won't be fasting. Because my father-in-law, he's 78, he won't miss his fast, even though he can, but he will be fasting this year.
Now, what is Eid? Because straight after Ramadan, people say, "Oh, it's Eid now." EID. What does that mean?
Yeah, so Eid is a celebration. Again, people under 28, 29 will be out there looking for the moon to see if it's Eid the next day. And Eid is that celebration that it's the end of Ramadan. We fasted for 29, 30 days. And again, families, communities get together. There's gift giving. Everyone has, again, their own traditions. So one of the traditions we've started in our family, we have an Eid piñata. So the kids go around knocking this lantern or this camel.
Oh yeah, the lanterns.
Lantern or camel, and they'll whack it and sweets will fall out. So traditions are one thing that's really lovely. Like my children, they're third culture kids. So they're British Pakistani, but they were born and raised in the UAE. So we've created our own traditions. So right now the living room is decorated with fairy lights, because heaven is decorated at this time, and there's an abundance of angels on earth who are made out of light. We've got our Ramadan tent out, where we will reflect and do our special prayers, because in this month prayers are more likely to be accepted. So for that, we've created prayer vision boards of all the things that we want in 2023. So there's Disneyland in there, and that we're looking forward to this year.
Kids.
All of this, and because they're excited, they make everybody gets excited. So from the young to the old, there's just a buzz in the air, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Nice. So we have one more question. How can teachers engage with with Ramadan and with those observing Ramadan? So students, maybe parents, maybe the community. How come you bring it into the classroom or the school?
I think the key values of Ramadan, which are things like self-control and patience and empathy and giving and charity and thinking of others, if schools could somehow incorporate that into the day, like maybe in the morning assembly, could be a message in the morning assembly to how to be more charitable, or in PHSC or in social studies. So the key values is a really nice way to engage with this month, because essentially it's not about the food and drink. It's not about not drinking water. It's much more than that. So if they, because that's why I feel like Ramadan, everybody can benefit from Ramadan. Even non-Muslims can. I know, Francesca, you love Ramadan.
I do. I really do.
So yeah, so I think that's a nice way. And one of the things that my children's school does that's really nice, they do a community iftar where everybody, Muslims, non-Muslims, parents, teachers, children, support staff, they just come together and they open their fast together, which is really nice.
And you use the word iftar, so that's the dinner or the meal that you use to break your fast, right?
Yes, that's right. At sunset, it's all very to do with that. That's another thing. It's very prescriptive to do with the sun is rising, stop eating. The sun is about to set, start eating, and the times are there for a reason. And it's nice because it makes you engage with nature more.
Yeah.
Like, how often do we look at the moon or observe
True.
the sun rising or setting? And it's really nice. It's a way to connect you from a nature from the natural point of view.
And even non-Muslims, when I was living in Dubai, I loved Ramadan because for the whole month, things seemed to slow down. There was much more compassion and kindness, awareness in the air, and things just slowed down, and the timings of people's work were shorter because of the fasting. And so it just seemed to be just a little bit more slower paced and relaxed, to really, as you say, to contemplate and be kinder to people and to think about it. What's nice is when the whole community, in Dubai, all the shops in those days were closed, the restaurants during the day were closed. So you were forced to really say, oh, this is now Ramadan time. And it made us much more conscious of what was happening within the families, within the culture. So that was nicer. But I guess if you live in London or New York, where that Western world continues, it's the Muslim children and coming to school and having to fit into the canteen still has its food. So if teachers are aware that they may not fast and that there's another space for them, that would be just it's
just about being mindful. That's all it is. I mean, even the Western world, even if they don't make changes to the school hours like they do over here, just knowing that the children in your class are fasting in this month, it will really make a huge difference. Because I remember when I was fasting in London, I didn't tell my teachers, and I carried on as normal. And I sat in the canteen amongst my friends who were eating and did PE and everything. And I felt like, looking back, had I, expressed that I was fasting, or had somebody asked, it would have been an easier Ramadan in many ways and less lonely.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we've learned a lot, and thank you for sharing. Can you tell us a greeting that teachers might say to their students and families to wish them a happy Ramadan or happy Eid as well?
Yeah, so it'll be Ramadan Kareem or Ramadan Mubarak. They'll both work. So it'll be lovely to see that.
Nice.
Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Kareem.
Lovely. And they would say the same for Eid, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it will be Eid Mubarak. Yeah, Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak.
Yeah.
Okay. Fabulous.
That's great.
All right. We've learned a lot, and thank you so much. And we wish you and your family Ramadan Kareem and Mubarak.
Thank you so much. Nice talking to you.
Thanks, Alveena.
Thank you. Bye.